All right, dude.
Cool. We on?
Yeah, we're good. We're rolling.
Sweet. Guess this is it's gonna be episode 5?
Yeah.
5.
Episode 5.
Did you listen back to the Tommy episode yet?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah, it was good.
There were some good gems in there.
Yeah, I figure we should just start off the way we have some, talking about our podcast in general. One thing I found out that I'm going to look a little more into is there are other podcasts with the name Figuring It Out. There's really only one other one that had it like released on most platforms, and it's not very popular, and we still got approved at Apple Podcast and I think all the main ones. Spotify I need to resubmit because I think I submitted too early.
Yeah, well, I saw that when we like first originally talked about the Figuring It Out idea.
Yeah.
And most of them are like existential bullshit podcasts.
Yeah.
They're not like the same format that we have. So I think we'll be all right. As long as there's no trademark issues.
That was all. Or just like, I mean, it doesn't really matter to us, but if you're on the same platform, I assume they could be podcasts with the same name. They could be bands with the same name, right?
Yeah. Movies, anything.
Yeah, okay, cool. Movies, that's a good example.
Yeah, movies. Maybe not movies, but as long as it's not trademarked.
Yeah, I've always wanted to start a TV show called The Office.
Yeah, me too.
It's a common name. I mean, we could come up with that.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. I wonder what the most ridiculous thing to have the same name is. Like, can you think of, there's nothing like a big movie or a big TV show where there's like two with the exact same name. Sometimes with movies it happens.
Yeah, movies there are.
Yeah.
Bands.
Can you think of one off the top of your head though?
Not off the top of my head, other than like remakes.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. They use
the obvious.
Fucking God. Yeah, there's one movie called Boy that I really love. It's this movie from New Zealand, and there's another movie named Boy from this like year or two apart. But there are a bunch though. Like when you start looking up IMDb and looking up movies, you'll see multiple results sometimes. But our podcast, reflecting back on listening to it, did you have any big takeaways from our latest episode or anything that you've noticed episode to episode? Or
are you talking about in terms of progression or
anything?
Just that
what were your thoughts listening to it?
Tommy has lived a crazy life.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Because I've never. That was the first time I've met him.
Yeah, he has a presence. He takes control of a room. He's definitely a guy that people just kind of trust in, and he's capable in a lot of ways. Very smart.
I'm gonna have to take care of this dog for a second.
You're fine. Just getting the paddle out. Are you pausing it? No, just keep it running. I got this. I'm holding the fort down while Steve is out. Come on, I just want to. Oh, there he is. Oh, Diesel's in the studio.
Hold on.
This could be quite the crazy episode. Should we mic him up? You want to mic Diesel? We got a boxer in the studio. I love dogs. Man, I really do like dogs. Do you like dogs a lot?
Yeah. Nah, I hate dogs. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I know you have. I mean, you've always been a dog person? Because you got him in a weird way. Like somebody needed a home for the dog. You found out about it.
Yeah, it's like a semi-rescue type
Yeah.
deal.
I did the same thing recently. And boxers and American bulldogs, pretty similar. We have a pretty similar situation with that. Somebody we knew wasn't able to fully handle the dog or the energy and the requirements.
Yeah. I think American bulldogs are a little bit more chilled out than boxers are. Boxers
are definitely a bit more anxious. My dog Connor, he's pretty calm. When new people come, I would say this boxers might be a little bit less like physically intense. Like at least my dog plays very strong and aggressive.
Yeah.
He's being nice, but he would even play with a girl in a way that would be like, dude, you gotta chill.
That's how he is, man. He'll growl and shit.
Yeah.
And for people that aren't used to it, they think that he's being aggressive when really, I mean, he's just a big pussy when it comes down to it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I was gonna say, unless you were you in the middle of something when you went there? You talking about Tommy, right?
Nah, it was just Tommy, and just his personality and presence overall is just very good. I mean, he can talk.
Yeah, we could have done a 3-hour episode with him.
Oh, easily.
He was just getting warmed up. And in the future, when we have more listeners, like that's something I remember listening back to it when I was like, all right, it's been this long. Like I was just saying in general, like eventually we have to wrap it up. That felt like a decent time. We had a really good episode with him.
Yeah, and we didn't know what his schedule was and what he had to do. I don't want to tie him up.
But in general, man, I really love listening to like 2.5, upwards to 3-hour podcast if the conversation is rolling and good.
Yeah, if the content's good, then time doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think that if we, especially as our show goes on, I don't think there's any reason you have to listen to an entire episode, especially if it's a guest episode. It's not like there's going to be some sort of linear thing, like there's a conclusion at the end or you're going to miss something big. So it's like if there is a long episode, I think a lot of times people tell me they listen to like part of a Joe Rogan episode.
Yeah.
Look, I heard the first half of that episode. They weren't as glued, but it's nice for everyone else to be able to go longer. I'm just going to have to stop petting him or else he's going to just keep going. It's hard for me not to pet a dog.
Dude, he won't leave you alone. As soon as you show him any affection, you're fucked.
Yeah. So something I thought of, which was really nice. So I've never done a full interview like style podcast, and the other podcasts that I did, I was the main talker. I was like the main host. He was the fight expert guy at the time because it was an MMA podcast, and I was actually the one who started it up with the comedian stuff I was doing. And I had never interviewed anybody, and it is very good that I've listened to podcasts over the years because I could imagine it would be a hard learning curve for me to not like interject in the middle of stuff as often and hijack people's stories. It happens. You hear it. If I wasn't so triggered by others doing it, I think I would do it more often. It's also partially comes with aging. You kind of learn the ways that you offend people or things that you're more self-aware.
More self-aware of what you're saying and what you're not saying and how to say it.
Right.
But that's because, like you, I've never interviewed anybody before. Never.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried about having Tommy come in and it being like an interview as opposed to what it was and just kind of just the three of us just sitting around bullshitting, which those are the types of stuff that I like.
Yeah.
Get down.
This is going to be the running thing. I imagine it's going to take we think 7 minutes before he settles in. 7 minutes from now, 15-minute mark on the screen.
We'll see.
We'll bet. You going to go over or under?
I'll go over.
Over. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm crossing my arms, damn it.
Never mind. Looks like you win. He's on the bed.
He's like, I want to go back to my room. Okay. We can't narrate the dog for the listeners. That would be... That's all we're doing. Oh, now he's scratching his head.
There's a fucking audience for everything. Maybe we could just narrate what dogs do.
Dude, we were talking about it the other day, about how the Rob and Joe show, I was curious if they said anything about, because they do that a lot. Well, clearly they do that. They talked about me when I hadn't even brought them up, and they talked about it after I talked to Joe. For those of you who don't know, that was something we discussed in the first episode. Well, anyway, you had told me some of the top. It's like, no, they just talked about this for 40 minutes, something else for 20 minutes. And I'm like, man, it's crazy. And this isn't a knock on their podcast because it's just true. You really can spend 20 minutes talking about whether or not Jeff Goldblum is an A-list actor. And if you're invested in those people and like them, you will listen to it and enjoy it.
Well, to be fair, we did have about a 20-minute conversation on whether or not he was or wasn't through text.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting it is an interesting conversation. It's something that we don't need to discuss that this second. Maybe we'll bring that up when Joe is on.
That's what I was thinking because, well, I won't spoil it just in case he comes on to see where.
I do have a strong opinion about it.
I know you do.
I'm pretty serious about movies, man. Like I used, that was like my biggest thing for the longest time was like my passion for film. Like growing up, my parents were divorced, and when I would go over my mom's or wherever, I spent a lot of time by myself, and I would just watch movies. I loved them, and it got to the point where if I had an actor, I wanted to see every movie by that act. Then it would be directors, writers. Then I would get on like top 100 movie lists, and I would search out these movies. In senior year and junior year, I skipped school and I saw every movie that played that had at least a week release at Charles Theater in Baltimore, like the indie theater.
Damn.
So like I definitely for a long period of time, up until maybe about 2010, 2011, was very into like movie stuff. So the question of somebody like that being an A-list actor was hard for me to answer, because I do really think Jeff Goldblum is an amazing actor, maybe an A-level actor. But if you asked me if Queens of the Stone Age were an A-list rock band, I wouldn't know how to answer that. I'd be like, maybe, but like maybe for rock, but maybe not an A-list band, maybe for talent. Maybe in the future we'll look back and be like, wow, that was a really good band. They were iconic. They were kind of original in their own way or whatever. But
they're iconic in what they do, because they're a completely analog. Come here, stop. They're a completely analog band. Like they don't record into any they record directly to tape.
Oh, I did. You know what? I knew that they did that for some stuff. I didn't even know that was a thing. I remember hearing that about like some other projects of his, but I'd never heard that about Queens of the Stone Age. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I do want to get back to listening back to the episode, progressions, interviews, etc. It was, like I said, it was nice to be able to have a guest on and know that he can take control over it. And I've always thought that would be the beauty of having an interview podcast, is you can kind of take a back seat and be very careful about what you say, and like occasionally have a funny line. Like I felt like I was the funniest in that episode, as far as like, you don't feel like you have to just keep talking and then something good comes to your head.
Yeah, because it helps to have that third voice. Because then you can sit back for a second and think about and pay attention to what's being said, and you're not constantly racking your brain trying to come up with rebuttals like you and I do back and forth.
Right. Yeah, I guess that was the main thing about listening back on the podcast. I know that if I didn't listen to the podcast that I do, and it's nice because I listen to Joe Rogan, who is a little similar to me in ways, and he has a lot of guests who are like that type of person, that type A, even like Tommy's that type A personality. So it's like you're very in tune to the things that trigger you. Do you think, though, in general, are you triggered by things that you wonder if maybe you have in you? Like what personality traits trigger you the most?
Hold on. Rephrase it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Like things that trigger you, like personality things people do, that just certain types of people other people will be cool with, but right off the bat, they're that type of person. I'll give you an example. My least favorite type of people seem a lot like me, but I just suspect and can see through something that I feel as fraudulence.
Yeah, that isn't
and a
authentic.
Put on,
yeah.
And we're like cut from a similar cloth, but
Yeah.
I feel like they're not authentic, and they're saying shit to impress you and saying stuff to like manipulate and make them seem better.
Yeah.
That is my biggest pet peeve, but it's predominantly in people who are very similar to me in ways. So there's like this element of I see them very well because I'm similar, but then there's something that, and I could totally be wrong, but a lot of times I'll just have this bullshit detector and they'll be like, why don't you like, well, similar people don't get along. And I'm like, but I'm a real motherfucker. Fuck that person, like, but it does. When Tommy was talking about being a guest on another podcast, one of the hosts, it made me think of it. And I saw Tommy, I guess yesterday. And I asked him, I'm like, what do you think of that? I won't even say it is, but it doesn't matter.
I think they could do anyone listening could do the research, whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I said, what do you think of that guy? He goes, well, he's always on. And I'm like, here's the thing. When I'm around that guy, I notice that him and I are similar. Like, do you think people, and he told me, no, I don't know the truth because nobody's just, I mean, Tommy's pretty honest, but he was like, no, that guy's always on. And yeah, he like kind of hinted that he didn't think he was as fun of a person to communicate with, and it would be more of an annoyance. So that was good to hear.
Yeah.
But sometimes I do wonder what I have that I don't realize.
Oh, like a personality trait about
Right.
Well, I mean, you are very abrasive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're a strong personality.
Right.
So that's probably off-putting to a lot of people in like a personal setting.
Right.
Maybe not a lot of people, but
I also think it depends on the dynamic. Like in certain places, people will say, oh, I'm the nicest, easygoing guy.
Yeah.
And then in some settings, some people are like, God, dude, he gets into it with everyone. It's depends on where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I'm around. And yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like I could be the angriest guy you've ever seen or the nicest person you've ever seen. And it could just flick of a switch come out. You know, like you possess every possible type of personality and then it just boom in large amounts.
just a complete schizophrenic.
Yeah, like somewhere between passionate and manic or something. I don't know what.
That's a fine line.
Yeah. So this week.
Well,
or no, go on. What were you saying?
I was going to say it's funny. It's funny that you brought that conversation up with Tommy and talking about whoever that other comedian was and how he's always on and all that shit. Because after you guys had left, after like you and Tommy had left, my girlfriend was like, "How'd it go?" I was like, "It was fucking good. It was just like a conversation." Because he is a pretty big name in the Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think of Baltimore comedians, he's up there.
Yeah, I said that he was the comics comic and the first name of like local comics that you typically hear about. He's in the running for who would be considered the highest clout. Rob Mayer's definitely up there. He's DMV. Like Tommy is very much like Baltimore comic. He became a Baltimore headliner without ever even doing stuff in DC much at that time or traveling much. So very much inside the belt. Or I mean, you know, the city comic. Tommy is probably at least one of the few, and I believe he also is one of the only ones that headlines the clubs. And well, I think he does. He definitely works the clubs all the time, and yeah.
But anyway, my girlfriend was like, "How'd it go?" I was like, "It was fucking great. We just sat down and had a conversation. He wasn't like on and trying to tell jokes and like work over bits that he's working out. It was just the three of us sitting in a room having a conversation."
That would be interesting. If we had somebody that came on and was on the entire time, I think I would have to break the ice. I would have to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, call it out
I just like
immediately.
yeah. Something. I mean, even if it was just, maybe it would be you going on, just like, it could even be like you partaking in like a comedy, like mockery of the way he's, not in a bad way, but kind of like.
Well, because that shit annoys the ever-living piss out of me on like radio shows, on like the 98 Rock show, morning show, when they have comics on and they're just going over bits. Like Rich Voss is fucking notorious for doing that shit, and it just annoys the hell out of me.
That's what the difference between podcasting and morning show talk radio really, I think, is the planned bits and the being on type thing. Not that there aren't podcasts like that, and not that there aren't talk shows where people are very normal, but
podcasts for the most part are more conversational than radio.
Yeah, when you have a comic that comes onto your show, he might only have a 7-minute segment, 6-minute segment to talk. They might ask him, "Is there any lead-ins? Is there anything you want us to bring up to talk?" Because you know, they don't want to just improvise and risk that kind of thing. So a lot of times this comic will go on tour with the same lead in, with the same interaction to a new local crowd.
And it's because it's all exactly like you just
said. They probably tell the same jokes too. No, I'm just kidding.
It's essentially new ears on radio hearing it, and there's no, it's live.
Yeah.
So there's no editing that can be done in post-production. Like, we could say a whole bunch of fucked up stuff right now, and 5 minutes after you leave, I can cut it all out.
Right. And we're back. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Mike was just saying the N-word.
Yeah, we had to cut that out.
No.
Yeah, no, geez. You know what? There was a comic who pulled off saying the N-word on stage, and I thought it was like one of the funniest ways of doing it.
Louis C.K.
Well, I know, but I mean like a local comic. Dude, it's really not easy to do that, right? Like, it's not, and especially if you're not just having a social dialogue about it. See, Louis C.K. did the easy one. Not that it was not. I mean, it's hilarious.
That's never easy.
He was just saying that when you hear the word N-word in your mind, you hear the same thing.
Yeah, you're saying it in your mind.
Right. He wasn't really making a joke or taking a big risk in what he said, even though he might have. He did with the word. He did. You know what he did? At the top of the Chewed Up, I think is the special. He did a whole thing about fag and faggot. And you heard him say it a lot. Do you remember that?
No.
There's a Louis C.K. bit where he's just yelling it. Like, I forget the bit. It's not bad. It's not overly distasteful. He's doing it to be, make a point that is ultimately not one of prejudice, I don't think. It's just maybe being a little insensitive to some people, but it's not like it's like in Prejudice Matter. But anyway, this comic had this joke, dude. It's good. His name's Kevin Brennan, but it's not the famous Kevin Brennan. It's a local Kevin Brennan.
I was going to say that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, no, there is a real Kevin Brennan, who's very funny, kind of like a this is the fake
the
Kevin
local
Brennan.
one's the fake one.
Yeah, and Kevin had this joke, and I might be butchering it because I'm doing it off of memory here, but he's like, I think the most offensive word ever is fidgeter. Because it's a mixture of 3 words: faggot, midget, and nigger. And I'm like, whoa! We're not editing that. We're not editing that.
Right,
Kevin Brennan, direct quotes.
Yeah, that's a direct quote.
Yeah, but he would say that, and I would just be like, oh my god!
Yeah,
and it killed every time I saw it.
That takes fucking
balls, dude, balls, man. Because he's not saying it because he wants to say it. It's just he thinks it's so funny, and he can't not.
If you like you said, if you take all prejudice out of it and just make it into a joke, then it's accepted.
Yeah, and we could take a second to kind of brush up on what are our views. Like, we're probably pretty typical, like our age, our race, our kind of like, we probably have pretty normal views on this stuff for somebody our age and race as far as what you can and can't say. And being a guy, most guys are kind of like, it's not a big deal to say the word, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what do you think? Are there certain things that are completely just, there's never a time for it? Like, outside of doing it in the way I kind of just did there, I kind of would never, I have no reason to say the N-word or the F-word. I mean, I don't have really a reason. Like, I'm not going to see somebody being lame or acting where I'm like, man, you guy's such a thug. Like, I'm not going to do that. But I was thinking of the word ginger the other day. We were talking about somebody and they're like, oh, the ginger guy. I'm like, he's not ginger. And we were going on and we had ginger over and over.
Well, here's the thing. Ginger is bound to turn into a derogatory term.
Okay.
I think ginger is slowly becoming is going to put on that list of words you don't say.
Do you think it already is and we just don't know? Are we behind the curve there a little bit?
I don't think so.
That's what I wanted to know.
Or maybe we are. I have no fucking clue. I'm that out of touch.
For the longest time, I didn't know Oriental was bad.
Neither did I.
I didn't know that. And then I was dating Steph, and she was the first. That's very offensive. I'm like, Oriental?
It was, no joke, probably like 4 years ago, I learned that Oriental is not a good thing to say. Or it's a derogatory term.
Yeah, yeah. The one that I'm never like too sure, and it's the idea of, this is a weird one. Blackface is so commonly just seen as like, man, you could never do that. And like, if you did that for a Halloween thing,
the act of doing
like if you wanted to be right, if you wanted to be Mr. T or Michael Jordan for Halloween, would you think it was okay to do anything? Let's say Michael Jordan's your favorite basketball player ever.
Well, see, that was the whole thing with Tropic Thunder.
Right.
Because it was like the first movie within like 50 years or whatever where a white actor had done blackface.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was, it went over, at least what I remember, it didn't cause as big of a stir as it would have if it happened even 6 years later, 5-6 years later.
Oh, no, that you couldn't do that movie now.
And I always thought of like that, and I would think about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm like, most people think that's hilarious, but...
They did blackface.
Yeah, people are so venomous about certain things, though, you know? Like, certain people have these rules, like, if you don't tip, you're this. And I mean, I'm not saying, I think you should tip well, but it's funny the way people just are like, I think, I hate people who do this, or...
We're in a society now of conviction and strong convictions, because now everybody has a fucking voice and everybody can say what, like, can be offended by everything because there is a way to voice you being offended.
Right. And you know what my thing is too? I really am totally okay with people thinking like somebody could be listening to this podcast and could be like, damn, Mike, like, I can't believe you just said that. Like, you just said the N-word on your show. Like, that's kind of fucked up. I am 1,000,000% okay with that. It's nuts to me that somebody could hear it and be like, that guy's the biggest racist piece of shit. Yeah. Fucker Republican, do you go? Like, that is insane to me. I don't understand the extreme nature in which people do stuff, because I think about this all the time. Like, how many of your friends drive drunk occasionally? I'm not saying you should do it, right? It's a pretty terrible thing. Done it. But yeah, but when you think about it, like, there are so many awful things. Like, how many of your friends litter? These are your friends.
Yeah.
They probably can't. You're like, wow, you just flick your cigarette butts anywhere? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, oh, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. Relatives, family members.
It's just a product of the culture that we're in today. I don't know how it got so fucking sensitive, and of course, there is some stuff that you just shouldn't say.
Right.
But a lot of the times, I think it gets taken completely out of context.
Yeah.
They just, like you saying quoting the N-word.
Yeah.
That's all people hear. And then that's a red light. And now you're a bigoted, racist piece of shit.
Right. It definitely, I'm sure there's at least a percentage of people that would think that, hearing, right away. And I don't know, it's just odd, the extreme nature in which people react to things that are kind of fringe.
There's no middle ground anymore.
Yeah.
It's either you don't give a fuck or you are just like calling people because you're so fucking offended.
And that is the one thing that is tricky about putting yourself out there. And it's one thing that makes me extremely happy that I don't write stand-up comedy anymore, because I do gravitate. I am in no way like that person who just wants to go up there and be vulgar.
Yeah.
But when I think of some stuff, like, this is an example. I had a joke that was like, 2 jokes that I wrote when I first started doing stand-up comedy. It was just one-liners. And 2 of the first jokes, and since we were just talking about it, like, what if my set was just black jokes? No, but these are just 2 jokes that I could think of off the top of my head that could be considered maybe offensive, that deal with, could be considered racist against black people. One of them was a reference to the movie Roots. And it was, I'm writing a poem about the movie Roots. So far, I just have the first line. Toby or not Toby? That is the question. And, like, that could be considered pretty bad. But I just couldn't not say it, man. And it's hilarious to me. It is funny to me. Like, that was one of my favorite jokes I wrote.
Well, you did say it?
Oh, I would say it on stage. Yeah, I did. I would tell one-liners. It never went over badly.
Well, see, and that's like...
But it could, and as time passes, it could.
Oh, definitely. But that's like, comedy of all things should not be held under that microscope.
Yeah.
And you were talking about fidgeter.
Yes, fidgeter. Edit that out, please. That word's just gone too far.
Put that on the list. You can't say that. That's ridiculous. No, I was just listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about like comics saying the word like faggot and fag and all that stuff. But Eddie Murphy has recorded bits.
Oh yeah,
about just throwing the word faggot around. And I mean, that was in the 80s.
It was in the 80s, and he's gay. It's not, he's allowed.
I think he's bi.
He's bi.
Those are the rumors. But it's like, where...
Well, I think it should come down to whether or not the person is saying it like they're homophobic.
Yeah,
Eddie Murphy might have been a little... I mean, his content maybe could have seemed a little more homophobic than, say, Kevin Brennan's joke was racist or homophobic. His was just a play on words. That's inevitably funny.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you mean. And I do think, like, when blackface stirs come up, which, I would agree that generally most of the time people wear blackface, they probably
are doing it in a negative light.
Yeah, it's probably they're probably laughing about the fact they're doing it and they think it's offensive and funny.
You personally, coming from a person that doesn't get offended by much, you probably shouldn't do blackface.
Yeah, you really shouldn't. I would never bring that up to be like, yeah, dude, it's a great idea.
Judging on like the history of blackface, and it was because like black people weren't allowed on film and shit. Don't do it.
But everyone could see that if you completely admire somebody and want to dress like them, and you decided to go about it that way, that whether or not you think it's appropriate or not doesn't make that person extremely hateful and racist.
That's true.
That's the only side of it and that's the art of trying out jokes. And when the jokes aren't funny and they teeter the edge, the other joke that was like similar to that was and I forgot about this joke. I don't know. I only told this maybe my first like few months doing comedy, but does anyone think it's funny how there were so many black and white movies filmed before the end of segregation or something or during segregation? How many black and white films were made during segregation?
That's just observation.
It's just, it's just a little play on words.
Yeah.
But anyway, that does tie into having a podcast because now we are in a way putting ourselves out there, and you just say off the hip jokes,
and there's no regulation.
No,
I mean
clearly,
yeah, because we've got shit up on the internet for some reason.
Yeah,
but there's no FCC regulation on top of what we're doing. I mean, the radio and television are heavily governed, and they can't say a lot of stuff, but we could sit here and say whatever the fuck we wanted to. People might not listen to it, but we could still say it.
Yeah.
And I think there was some controversy on some podcasts or something getting taken off of Patreon because of what they were saying, but that's really that's really the only repercussion you have.
Yeah, that's like a common
but there,
you see that with like Twitter and stuff.
Yeah,
people
and if you get taken off of Patreon, I mean, I guess there's ways around that. You could set up like a fucking Venmo or like a PayPal account, or
it's a small percentage of people that are getting removed. For generally speaking, podcasting, it's the wild, wild west. Stand-up comedy, you at least have the ability to go up there and say pretty much anything. Like most hosts have never come up and pulled a comic off stage for saying something too offensive.
Yeah.
I've never been at a show where that's happened. And a lot of the hosts are afraid to even tell a comic to get off stage when they're running the light. Like if you're doing like an 8-minute set, a comic might run the light by an extra 6 or 7 minutes, do almost twice the set they're supposed to, and they'll keep getting the light and they won't come off. And the host is like, I don't want to go up on stage and interrupt this guy in the middle of this. Like, they just kind of don't know what to do. So you really can go up there and say what you want. And I mean, there are a lot of people who go up there and are racist or are homophobic and say things that are, correlated to their views, and they are representing themselves. When you say a joke,
and they're not saying it in a lighthearted or like ironic way.
There's no irony. They're making a point.
Yeah,
they're making a point.
They are boldly making their stance known of how they feel about a specific type of person.
Right, and that I think is kind of the filter that I like to use. And you hear that a lot. I mean, it's not like I'm breaking any ground there, but intention and who you are as a person is probably like your views are probably the most important part of the assessment there as far as the litmus test to whether or not what you're doing is overly wrong. You know.
Well, and your views and you as a person can change over time too. So, like the negative shit that you were saying, because that was kind of the same stuff that like Kevin Hart went through for saying that he hoped his son didn't grow up to be gay. But that was like 10 years ago, and now he's a different person because he got kicked off for like doing the Oscars or some shit.
Was that, you mean the Tracy Morgan? Or
no,
Kevin Hart said that about his son. Okay,
yeah.
Tracy Morgan had the joke about like something about he would like smack his kid if he was gay or something, right? Or he had a weird one.
Know.
Okay, well, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. There's the multiple cases of stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. How about? Do you remember when Kevin Hart got busted for hooking up with that like prostitute or something? Or there was like a hotel video of him.
No.
Man, it's weird how in the modern day and age of people getting in trouble for stuff that it doesn't come back to ruin their career in a way. It's weird the things that do and don't bury you.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Hart really had this thing where it was leaked that he did that, and he's super Instagram famous for being positive and Mr. Fit Guy and
I think it's
all that.
I think it's kind of weird that your career could fall off for jerking off in front of people.
The Louis C.K. thing. It's odd. You know, I'll say this. Part of being a stand-up comic for me, and this is just my opinion, and this is how I look at all forms of art. I even think about it when it comes to music, like people who defend Michael Jackson. That's fine. And that's something that needs to be brought up too. I mean, not that I know for sure he's a pedophile or whatever. It's funny the things people will get over when they love something and believe something or love an art. For me, if you are a musician or a comedian and I'm seeing you, I have got to like you. I've got to want to be able to hang out with you.
Yeah.
If you're a funny comic and you're like a person who's like really swarmy and a piece of shit or just kind of not my kind of person, it loses its humor. Mm-hmm. I like people that I like.
Yeah, because you see it on a level outside of like the jokes or the songs that you're telling. If you suck as a fucking person, then
personality
to you, your music or your jokes or your art or whatever it may be is gonna suck to you just as bad as your personality.
You know, and I'll take it even a step further with it, where to the point where once I'm a super fan of that person, I will be interested in everything they put out probably, and I will be extremely, especially when I know it's their creation. Like when a band makes an album, that's theirs. When an actors are a tough one because if it's a bad screenplay, a bad director, bad editing.
They didn't have any control over that. It's just a part that they're fucking playing.
Actors are tough, but when you're fans of something like the whole piece is made by somebody, musicians are a great example. If you love a band, like I talked about, I love Queens of the Stone Age. When they put out an album, I'm going to listen to it. And if I don't like it right away, my first reaction is not going to be, oh man, that's bullshit. I think they were better before some. I'm just intrigued by, at the very least, this is what one of my favorite current musicians is putting out right now, and it's what they believe in, and they think it's the most important music they can make, and it's a piece of them, and I'm so interested in the person. I think being fans of people, like I'm a big fan of the people that I love, and the same could be said with stand-up comedians. Like I really love the ones I do. It was so easy for me to look at Louis C.K. and Bill Cosby and them and be like, man, I know the joke's funny, and if it comes on, I'm going to recognize that it's funny, but I'm not clicking the name. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's not what I'm in the mood for. I don't want to hang out with you for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I don't want you in my living room. I'll watch the same Bill Burr special over again. Or what, you know.
I think Bill Cosby's on a different level though.
Oh my, I know, than Louis C.K. 1,000,000%.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of like in terms of distancing yourself from the material and the person.
Oh, you can do it easier with Louis, you're saying.
Yeah,
because
Cosby's on a different
look at what he
level.
Did, man. That's the fact that you can look at that person. You know, it would be interesting to me if I knew I was getting into it. But if, let's say, a serial killer released a stand-up special, I could watch it. And I might laugh occasionally and shake my head and go, fuck, man, because I can do that. But it's not easy watch. It's intense.
Yeah.
It is intense to look on the TV and know that Bill Cosby is who he is and he's done what he's done.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to be a little like anxious about it. It makes me want to watch it some ways, like people like them Ted Bundy interviews that just got put out, and people do like the intense stuff. But when I watch a person like Bill Cosby, I feel like I'm watching something similar to that.
Yeah, it almost doesn't seem real. It seems like scripted and written.
And you know what? Maybe I can relate it to...
because it's so extreme.
Yes. Heinous people can be funny, too. Tony Soprano makes me laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah. And there was a killer guy. There's this documentary of this hitman. He was a hitman. And some of the stuff he said in this interview made me laugh so hard. It was some Iceman, or I don't know what it was. It was just him being interviewed, and he had like a little heavier set white guy was like, look.
Did he recently get killed?
Maybe. I'm not sure enough, and I don't know how I would find the name easily.
Was it a part of like the Whitey Bulger stuff?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe so. He was a typical guy, had like a troubled youth, I don't remember it all. All I know is he was kind of like, he was a hitman, and he said things in it that made me laugh. It was like a funny way to reply, and it was great, but it's not the way you laugh when you're sitting down and eating food and watching stand-up comedy. And I can no longer look at Bill Cosby and just laugh lightheartedly. I don't think I could. I don't know.
No, you're not going to sit down and watch kids say the darndest things and giggle your balls off after you know what he was doing at the time and what he's done in the past.
And the saddest thing, now that you mention it, I can get over the stand-up comedy. I loved kids say the darndest things.
Dude, I watched it all the fucking time.
Yeah. God, I mean, it's not that I couldn't watch it, but I wouldn't be in.
You'd look at it. You'd look at it in a different way.
God damn, Bill Cosby
fucking ruined it.
Women and kids, we can't even fucking ruin just everything. Ugh.
They just suck the life out of it.
Thank God he didn't like host like every dog video on YouTube. I would be. He was in like somewhere involved in every like funny compilation.
Or thank God he never hosted America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh God.
Whew. If it comes out that Tom Bergeron did some fucked up shit, then I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, who would be the most heartbreaking for you? What is like the celebrity where it would crush you to find out they're an awful human being?
I don't know, dude. See, I don't get too attached to celebrities like that. I don't have any kind of attachment like that. I have bands that I like, and one band that I in like middle school that kind of introduced me into like the punk and pop punk scene was Newfound Glory.
Yeah.
And their guitar player, one of them ended up being like a pedophile or something.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was just jamming to them on the way over here.
Oh, cool.
No, but that's crazy. Yeah. I've heard stuff like that. I've never been at the brunt of that I can recall finding that out. Like something really bad about somebody you're super passionate about. I get nervous, though, when I hear about people meeting or having stories of comedians, especially because you're going to really get a sense of them. And comedians can do some crazy shit. There was a comic that would come through to the Baltimore Comedy Factory. I can't remember. I think Eddie Griffin is his name. Eddie Griffin, that short black guy.
Does that ring a bell?
I mean, do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know who Eddie Griffin is.
I know, yeah, I think that's how you say it. It's Eddie Griffin. It's not like Eddie Griffith or something.
No, it's Eddie Griffin.
Okay.
Like Undercover Brother, that guy?
I'm pretty sure. If I saw him, I would know. But yeah, he's like a shorter black guy. And he would need the venue to buy him a new pair of shoes every time. And he had weird requests, and you hear it all the time. Pauly Shore is one that everyone's just like, dude, he's a bad guy. Yeah, you just hear some stuff, and I'm always nervous about Joe Rogan. I love him, but I'm like,
but you're just kind of in the back of your mind, you're just waiting for that one thing to come out about him that he always does or makes him just an asshole.
And role models can be like that. Like there's a guy at the jiu-jitsu gym who I just love the way he is as a father, as a leader, as like a competitor. Like he has like this noble He, you know, kind of selfless way. And if you were to find out something bad about him, or if I was, it would be like, oh my God, because you really look up to him. I definitely look up to people and kind of latch on to the people I strongly believe in. And whenever you believe in somebody, you run the risk of being hurt, let down. Yeah. Belief is emotional. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's unrealistic, if it's not logic based, but the second you believe in something, you're willing to be crushed.
Well, no, yeah, because the second that you believe in something, you are 100% wholeheartedly thrown into it.
And wholeheartedly is the best word to use, dude. Yeah. That is the word for it. That's the between thinking and believing. The emotion that's there is just crazy. And it might even, just from finding out you're wrong, not that you might blindly follow it, and it's believing doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be unrealistic about it, but you're going to be crushed if it's not the way it is. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like what it's like you're saying. You're basically staking your emotional risk. Like, I invest so, like, I swear on my father's grave. And then if you're wrong, you're like, fuck, I swore on my dad's grave. It's kind of like that, but you're like, I believe it. I don't just think it. I don't just know. I believe. I know. Or I know. But when you believe in somebody like that, on something you can't be sure of, man, you really do run the risk. That definitely affects me. I know I'm easily affected by that.
See, I don't know
celebrities enough, and like, I don't know frontman of bands well enough to stake that faith. But when you talk about the guy I do jujitsu with every day,
when you have a personal connection with that person, it's completely different than someone that you see on a fucking television and you've never had any personal interaction with them whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, like a teacher, I can remember a time or two I heard something about a teacher I had after the fact, and I was like, man, really? And it just kind of let you down a little, you know. Because, I mean, I was very close to certain teachers, then you find out they were inappropriate in a way.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Oh, yeah. That's a big thing. I would never. I love the idea of teaching and doing that kind of stuff. I don't know how I would be able to handle being a high school teacher if you're even remotely attractive and cool.
It'd just be terrible to be a high school teacher in general.
Yeah, I really don't know what to do with girls who are between the age of like 13 or 14, probably really like 14 or 15 till they're like 18 or 19, 20, because it's such a weird fucking thing when they give you the look like they're attracted to you.
Yeah, and especially at now that we've reached the age that we are now, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, dude, it's just really, really weird. And girls, can you remember in high school how like every girl had crushes on male teachers? Like, Mr. Yan was a sex object. Look at that dude.
That was the example that popped up into my head. And I've had this conversation recently. Like, I don't understand why all of these female students were so attracted to him and hung around him and fucking idolized him.
I know it's really crazy, but
I think it just has to do with like just being in a role of authority and being an older male.
I don't know what it is, but it's inevitable that if you or I were a teacher right now, we would be one of the, like, remember that guy, Mr. Genovese? Remember Mr. Genovese?
Is he the one that wore his pants real high?
I don't know. Nah, it's not worth talking. I guess it doesn't matter. He was like a younger, hip-looking guy, and he was actually like a pretty attractive guy. Because not a lot of teachers, male teachers, were attractive. Because like when you look at Mr. Yan, we had a teacher in high school that was not that he's not attractive, but you would never be like, oh my God, the girls are just going to be drooling over him.
Yeah.
Large. He was a very
he was stocky.
He had that
heavy, like defensive lineman body.
Round head. Shaved. I mean, bald kind of, right? It's just odd. Not that he was bad looking. I mean, he was the hottest guy to the girls, but in general, that is not, he's not going out and constantly everyone's turning their head like, oh my God, like when he walks into a room.
Yeah.
But in high school, he would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be the hardest job for me. And then the fact that you have that student all year. And then the second, if you do anything inappropriate and you ignore it, it's now on your conscience that you know it's there, or what if they've sent an email? Oh, I don't know what goes on, but I know there has to be inappropriate shit happening all the time, even if you're not trying to make it happen.
Well, the thing is, if you get involved in any of that kind of shit, you just nip it in the bud quick. Like,
yeah,
you just
have to.
You just say like, this is fucking inappropriate. You don't even like play into it like, haha, thanks, LOL type shit. You just immediately
the
say.
Second they finish the job, you're like, you get out of it. No, it's terrible.
No, you just fucking cut that shit off.
You're right. You'd have to have like a very strong sense of it, though. You'd have to like. You'd have to be very, not because it's hard to tell somebody and tell on somebody too. Like the way I would want to handle it would be to kind of explain to them, like, look, this is very inappropriate. Yeah. I'm this, you're that. I get that you feel this way. And when I was your age, I like teachers, but you just can't, and it's very risky for me for any sort of interaction. We really can't have any sort of outside of class this, or I don't know what I would do. That would be the way I would want to handle it, but that's not enough.
But see,
I don't think that's enough. I think you'd have to report it or...
Yeah. There's probably a whole protocol you have to go. They probably teach that shit now.
Yeah, and then it's going to like break them. They are all emotionally invested in you.
Yeah.
And then that's how you do that. Oh my God, what a nightmare. Because I considered that. I'm like, back before I decided whether or not I really wanted to go through college.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I could be a teacher. But then, I liked the idea of high school age, but I'm like, nope, I don't think I could handle being a teacher with a room full of girls. I wouldn't want to do it. No. Not just, for that reason.
I wouldn't want to do it just for the simple fact of I went through high school. Yeah. I wouldn't want to fucking deal with the people that I saw.
Yeah. And school is so weird because there's so many political correct this and like weird ways where they're like, hey, our hands are tied. We have to let you go.
But also, I know this isn't a very original take on the situation, but the teachers that we had back in school do not look like the teachers coming out now.
No.
I see some of the girls or even guys that we went to school with that are in our age range becoming teachers now, and I'm like, oh fuck, if you were my teacher back then, I wouldn't have gotten anything done.
Dude, I never had a teacher that was like undeniably hot.
No. There were the ones that you could find characteristics in, but never one that was just a complete smoke show.
No, not at all. But yeah, I guess by age, I mean, God, at our age, there are a lot of people who are teachers who've been teaching for a while now.
Oh, for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But anyway, characteristics that piss you off. I actually thought of one.
Let's hear it.
Fucking bumper stickers.
You don't like them in general?
I fucking hate them.
Okay.
And vanity tags.
Okay. I mean, I'm generally with you.
The thing about bumper stickers is I hate the fact of a witty slogan that is mass produced.
Yeah.
It's just, it's an unoriginal thought at that point. Like,
that's true.
I just fucking hate it. I hate the fact that there's something that somebody is putting on their car to make them think that they are having an original thought when there are millions of them that have been produced.
How many cool people wear funny quote shirts? It's a small percentage. When those shirts are big and stuff, like when you're walking around and you have some like, do you know how lucky you are, ... Remember that shirt? And on the back, to have just seen me. You have people in school wore like shirts like that. They'd sell them at Spencer's. And stuff. And when you're like the person who has you say psycho like it's a bad thing. Remember that shirt? Yeah. But if that's on the bumper sticker, and then when they have the ones like, if you're gonna ride my ass, at least pull my hair.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I don't know why, but the thought of that being passed as an original thought just pisses me
more
off.
So quotes though, right?
Yeah.
Not just like if it's like a sports emblem or like a school logo for something that doesn't bother you, right?
No. Yeah. If you're in support of something, like you said, like a team, or a school, whatever. That's fine. But it's the back of the cars that are. It's usually they're plastered in fucking bumper stickers.
It's usually going to be someone who's a little obnoxious, I'd imagine.
Yeah, in one way or another.
Yeah. Vanity tags, I don't care a ton, but usually I associate it with, when I know the person, I don't think anything of it. But it's still weird. I only know a couple people who have them.
They make me the most mad when I don't know what the fuck they say.
Oh yeah, I don't understand the inside joke ones and stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I've seen two that I loved. One of them was like Butts 3 or something like that. It was like Butts and then a number.
Yeah.
God, it made me fucking laugh so hard. And then there was another one that I saw that was Van Halen. I'm like, this person just likes to fucking rock.
Yeah, Van Halen. My dad had license plates. It wasn't vanity. He was in line and he was supposed to get this license plate, KFC 666. He didn't want it. You know what he got? KFC 667. But I would always see KFC 666 driving around. You lucky son of a bitch. You didn't have to pay for that. You didn't have to pay extra and you got KFC 666.
You love fried chicken and the devil.
Yeah, that is way cooler than almost any vanity plate ever.
And you get it by random.
If your vanity plate was KFC 666, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's one that I would love to have.
Yeah.
Especially, you didn't request it. It just gets given to you.
Uh-huh.
Fucking A. Could you imagine your dad rocking the Miata in KFC 666?
Oh, man, the Miata.
Fucking
this was
greatest roller coaster ever.
Yeah, I believe this was on a big blue van. A big, like one boxy van.
Like a
It was a vehicle he didn't have very long. He bought it used, like from somebody, just like an extra vehicle, like a spare vehicle,
like a conversion van with like the
conversion van,
cool seats in the back.
Maybe we had it a few years. I can't really remember. It definitely was a little short lived, but yeah, I'll never forget that. Did you have anything fun happen this weekend? You did.
Yeah, I went to a wedding.
How was
the wedding? Was great. Wedding was awesome. I love weddings.
You dress up pretty neat. I know you said you wore a velvet tie.
Velvet tie. It was like a raised paisley pattern.
Ooh.
It looked fucking sharp.
Where'd you go to get did you just have everything you wore or did you like rent something?
Oh no. I bought it. I have one suit.
Okay.
And I bought it 4 years ago.
Okay. So you just wore the suit.
I just wear that to every wedding.
Different ties? Different undershirts?
Nah, same shirt.
Same shirt.
Black jacket, black pants, white shirt, different tie.
Okay.
But
I don't have a suit. I don't dress up much. I get very nervous for things like that. Am I going to look normal? I want to know, like, I feel like they should tell you what you're supposed to wear. I've only been to so many weddings. I don't know where does this place? You're getting married in some place with a bunch of plants, or you're getting married at someone's backyard. Like, are you guys even wearing an outfit that's like super formal? If it's at a church, I assume I'm going to have to dress up kind of nice. But
this wedding, most weddings, you can pretty much guarantee you need to wear a suit and tie.
Really?
Yeah. This wedding was black tie optional. So
yeah, I would hate for people to come to my wedding and feel like they need to dress up and
yeah.
Like, maybe I'll wear a suit, but you could just wear normal clothes. You're just an audience member. I mean, for me, like, if I had to think of it, like, that would make me feel a little bad. I would want to write on there, you guys wear whatever.
Yeah.
I want that in my wedding invitation. You guys just wear whatever you want. Don't be too obnoxious.
Yeah.
But it'd be funny if somebody's in, like, a chicken costume. I guess it'd be funny.
Yeah. Don't be too obnoxious, but come in a chicken suit.
If one person did it...
Nah, this wedding was fun as shit. It was my girlfriend's friend, and it's the family the family of the bride's a great family. They're very personable, fun loving. The bride's awesome, and then just her group of friends is just really welcoming and just fun as shit. But it was a good time.
Yeah,
it was fun. I love weddings. I like getting dressed up. It doesn't happen often, but I like doing it when it comes. If I had to do it like every fucking weekend, it would be a pain in the ass, but
I always have a good time in anything social that I do. I reflect on it like, oh, I'm glad I went through with that.
yeah.
I like it, but I do get anxious in ways and things that are unexpected. I don't know what's going to be. I mean, I don't get anxious to go to like a concert. I go to places by myself, but certain things where I'm going to see people I haven't seen in years, that makes me a little nervous.
You build up that anxiety of like, oh man, is this going to fucking suck? Am I going to hate this? Do I even really want to do it?
Yeah.
But then once you get it over with, it all 9 times out of 10 ends up being you don't regret the fact that you did it.
I actually don't mind if I'm somebody's date to something else where I don't know anybody and I can just be with them. But when I'm going somewhere, like I went to Kim Wirtz's wedding and I saw a bunch of people from high school who almost all of them only knew me through school and didn't know me outside of
They don't know of you now. They only know what they knew of you then.
They do know of me now. Because I've done stand-up comedy, MMA fights, this stuff. They know about me and they ask about me and I barely know them. And it's not like I'm clearly, I mean, for people, if you're listening to this and you don't actually know us, I'm not a celebrity by any means. Not even just because I've done those things. But social media, people talk, whatever. People know things that I've done where when I run into people in high school, usually they ask me, how's the fighting stuff going? How's this?
Yeah.
And I don't really know much about them and I don't remember a whole lot, or it's just people I never talked to. And that's already a little uncomfortable. Like you got your circle, you got your people. It is funny, the things that give me anxiety like that. But the wedding, tell me about the injury you had.
Oh God. All right. So like I said, the wedding was fun as shit. I was dancing my ass off the entire night. The reception went from like 5 p.m. to, I don't even know, maybe 11, something like that.
Really?
So it was just constant fun.
Yeah.
And dancing. And we got back to the hotel room and we were sharing a room with a couple of people just to cut costs down. And I got back and it was pretty sweaty.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking to myself, like, all right, shit, I need to wipe this funk off of me before I crawl into bed and go to sleep so I don't wake up feeling disgusting. So I take my shower, I step 1 foot out of the tub, grab a towel, step back into the tub to dry off, and my fucking heel catches the curved part of the tub.
Yeah.
And it was like someone pulled the rug out from underneath of me. My feet went up, I went down, and when I fell right on the side of the fucking tub, right on my right side on my ribs. And
you got a pretty nasty bruise.
Yeah.
It looks like you did something.
It hurts.
Cracked rib, probably.
Yeah, so. I definitely have a cracked rib.
Yeah, you're probably more than likely. A very painful thing to experience, right?
Dude, it sucks. It fucking hurts.
That's crazy, falling down in a tub.
That's why I was sipping on a vodka tonic to start the show to kind of self-medicate.
Oh, yeah.
And take the edge off.
Did you drink a ton at the wedding?
Oh, yeah. But what kind of helped to keep the intoxication down was
cocaine?
Yes. That's the way I like to end every night. A little nightcap after a night of drinking. You just do a quick little bump. Yeah. Really mellows you out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. I mean, fucking cracked rib. Oh, I split my pants too.
Jeez, dude. You had quite the weekend.
Yeah. It was fun though.
Yeah.
It was worth it, I guess. It was a good time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I did an open mic yesterday, and I'm telling you,
You're getting better?
I really think that
superstar status?
No, I just think that because that's something we're gonna do. I'm gonna play on here, and I'm gonna get done. And I think
you might blow some people away.
No, I don't think it's just that at the end of the day, it's gonna be funny if it's not obviously bad and not obviously awful. Like, oh my God, that's terrible. If it's not that, he has set himself up for, if I go and perform this and you literally in no way does it sound bad, it's going to look weird that he said all that about it. Right?
Yeah.
It would be weird. Like if somebody went out of their way to say, and it's awful and it's got to be fake and there's no way he could be serious. And I mean, that kind of stuff. And then you do it and you're like, okay, I mean, he's not a rock star. It's not like he's a famous, he doesn't sound like a musician really, but for a year and a half, it's all right. Like if it's like that, people are gonna be like, why was that guy so, caught up over that?
Dude, I so badly want this to fucking happen. I so badly want Joe to be in and to just have to sit in front of you while you play guitar and sing essentially into his face, because we are not in a big room.
I know.
Fuck. I was thinking about it the other day and I was laughing.
It's a tight room.
I started laughing so hard just thinking about that situation.
Yeah. It'll be fun. But I'm just telling you, man, I see it. Like, I've been doing this open mic for a while now. And in the beginning, I get people who looked at me and I get people who'd come up and maybe they'd be like one time there was this one lady and I think it was like trying to get me to like as a pass at me. But like her friend, I think was interested in me in general because she was very persistent that it was with me. But she brought up like, oh, and it kind of offended me. It made me not want anything to do with this girl. But she was like, my friend over there, she's like really shy and she's like been wanting to sing. And then she said that you've been coming here and playing guitar and like you're kind of shy. And like it was like I was like my third week, I think. And she's like, maybe it'd be a good idea for you guys if you played a song together and you could play guitar and she could sing. Because basically she was saying that it seemed like I was nervous to sing. And then she was nervous. She had never done it. And then I was like, well, I'm a beginner. Like,
so you guys could just be nervous together.
Yeah. My thing was, well, I'm not very good at, I'm not good at guitar. She's not going to be able to hear the song that well. I might not keep good rhythm. I probably don't even know any songs she can sing. At that point in time, I only knew like 12 songs and only one or two would you even know.
Yeah.
Like I knew a CCR song that I've never even done at the mic because I don't even know if I ever memorized the lyrics completely. Bad Moon Rising. And I kind of have it in my head. And then, the other one would probably be Fell in Love with a Girl by White Stripes. I don't even know if I was playing that then at the time. There was like no songs and she kept hounding me about it. And then I was like, look, you just give me a few, in my head, I'm thinking like, you just give me a few fucking months and come back and tell me. First of all, it's not a confidence issue. I'm just only as good as I am.
Yeah.
But anyway, as the mic progressed, there was like shifts because you see what the audience members do while the person who's on stage is on stage. And it's been lately, man, I can see them nodding their head, like people who are eating, like the dudes at the table, they're like kind of just casually into it. If they're like at a family dinner, like last night, there were a few tables of just family dinners and the people would be kind of paying attention.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of people who would look up a good bit. And that's not at an open mic. My first takeaway at an open mic was, man, these people go up there and they play amazing and they're super good, tight musicians and they have beautiful voices, but people don't even give a fuck. Like they're not turned off by it because it sounds good.
That's the majority of the reaction.
Yeah. But I think because I play songs they don't know, B, it might just have like a presence of like curiosity. Like who's this?
And also you play such obscure shit that if there's someone sitting in the crowd and they hear something that you're playing that they actually like, or it's an artist that they like, and that piques the interest, and they're
blown away.
Oh shit, nobody ever fucking does this. Barely anybody hears this artist or knows who this artist is, and there's this dude in downtown Bel Air fucking...
That definitely happens. That undoubtedly happens. But either way, last night I could tell, and the guy I play guitar with, like there's a guy who comes up who's been playing guitar about 8 years and he'll play some lead stuff over top of me and we just kind of jam. And he's been telling me, dude, I think that went really, every time it's like, I think that went really well, man, way better than last time. I think that went really well. And the past few ones we've been like, it's kind of just a normal set now. And we're playing with gigging musicians. Like a lot of the people who go to the open mics do gigs. Yeah. Like even the guy I play with does gigs. He's, so that is going to be fun. I am looking forward to that. And is there anything else? I'm trying to think about my weekend. Nothing too specific on my end.
Nah, and I covered the broken rib and wedding.
Yeah, we filled up some time there. We're at the 70-minute mark.
Yeah, we're running about average.
Yeah,
70 to 90
It's definitely
minutes.
a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's cool with me. But I'm just thinking that there was, you know what? One last topic before we go. This is something that I've discussed a couple times this week, and I'm curious what you will say. If you could, because it kind of annoys me that the food I like the most taste-wise is pretty much the most gluttonous. For the most part, like the worst for you. Like, it's just like, it's kind of frustrating, but we also are living in a day and age where I've noticed that now even if they're not completely healthy, they're making healthier options that do taste really good and like variations. And you can find your product or two that you love. But either way, my question was, if you could take any 3 foods and make them the healthiest for you. So like if all you ate was one of those foods, you would get a balanced amount of everything you would need as if you were eating a healthy diet. Like just enough protein, enough this, enough that, not too much of this, like the perfect macros and micronutrients for you. What 3 foods would you pick?
Well,
do you have it off the top of your, or do you need a minute?
My favorite types of foods, my top 3 in no order are Chinese, Italian, and Mexican.
But all right, well, that's tough. Because there are
that's 3
can we get
genres
of
food. You want to get more specific?
More specific,
okay.
Is in like,
all right.
Like for instance, like pizza is one of mine.
I'll say this:
it doesn't need to be pepperoni pizza.
A fucking calzone.
A calzone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get the large calzones,
yeah.
which are like a whole pizza folded in half with like 2 pounds of fucking mozzarella and ricotta cheese.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
I
love it.
I'll eat a whole calzone, a whole large calzone. I'll fuck it up.
I'm with you.
From end to end, I will eat it.
Well, all right, so that's food number 1. Well, pizza was one of mine, so that's kind of the same category.
That's in the same ballpark, yeah.
So what's your next go?
I'd say tacos, but tacos really aren't that
terrible. It depends what you get on them.
If you break it down,
either way, if you love them, if tacos went from being tacos to being the healthiest food ever, it's still a pretty big shift.
Because
if you love them,
I love to cook, and I love tacos, so I make a lot of tacos.
Okay, and soft or hard shell?
Oh, soft.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
fucking corn tortilla. If you do flour, you're fucking up.
Okay.
So flour tortilla, I don't know how that, like, the health benefits from flour to corn. I'd imagine. I mean,
I'll put this: if you're using like taco beef and you're not getting like super lean stuff, and you're putting cheese on there, and you got some salsa and some sour cream, and you're using a soft shell, it's probably not the healthiest food. You probably could pick that one.
I do like street tacos. Fucking meat, onion, cilantro, lime.
Okay,
that's it.
All right. Well, okay.
So it's not. I guess if you were to break it down in a broad spectrum, it's not the worst thing for you. It's not like a fucking Snickers bar.
Well, it's either on the table or off the table, and we'll move on to either a second or a third one. And
then, I mean, any Chinese food's not good, but
like the new, like lo mein or any
shrimp lo mein.
Shrimp lo mein, you like that?
I
love it, dude. Oh man, see, now that you got me thinking about it, I do love beef lo mein, and it's so like, and Chinese gives you so fucking much.
Yeah, I can't. Once I open it, I can't fucking stop.
I never leave something on my plate.
No.
I eat every fucking thing in front of me.
I am a devout member to the Clean Plate Club.
Yeah. So mine, I thought about this a little bit though. Go ahead. What were you say?
I'll do beef and broccoli.
Beef and broccoli.
Yeah, I know that shit can't be good for you because every time I eat it, it gives me diarrhea.
But do you want diarrhea? Okay, so like that's part of the thing to consider. Okay, so despite it being healthy, like you're still eating that before going to work. You're still eating that and having to live a life. So that was something I considered. And like I made watermelon one of mine because all day I would eat watermelon. And then at night I would eat pizza and ice cream. I wanted ice cream, pizza, and watermelon. And I wanted the rule for ice cream to be I could put whatever in it. So if I want to make it with cookies or peanut butter.
Dude, ice cream's a good one.
I figured those three things I could live on.
Yeah.
Watermelon, dude, during the day. If you gave,
wait, are you saying watermelon's not good for you?
Well, it doesn't have like if
there's
all
no
you
nutritional value.
If you looked at the benefits, what makes up its calories? It doesn't have any fat and it doesn't have any protein. That's not good off the bat.
Yeah.
It just has carbs, sugar
and water.
Carbs from sugar probably are what's doing it, and then it's 90-something% water. It does have some good. Like it's got this thing, citrulline in it that's good for muscles and circulation and some other stuff. But in general, no, you're not going to be able to.
You couldn't sustain on it.
It's not the same as, it's not the same thing as eating like chicken and kale and all that together. But in general, and I could eat it to the point where, I had to keep in mind this. I need something that I could eat all the time. And watermelon, dude, like I would just eat watermelon instead of drinking water.
Yeah.
It tastes so good. And they have seedless watermelon down now where a good watermelon is so refreshing and crisp. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's nice to have one option that's refreshing and kind of light but pizza all day, any day. Wegmans pizza
is good as shit.
off the hook.
Yeah.
So good.
I wish I would have thought about ice cream because that's a good one.
You could.
If I get a pint of Ben & Jerry's, it's not C in the morning.
The other thing to consider is you might want complimentary things like
salty sweet.
Well, as something, if it's very similar to something else, you might like the variety. There's like a variety nature of like, well, what would be my dessert of choice? What would be my main course? Unless you don't like desserts and you're like, well, I really love wings. I really love pizza. I really love burgers. Boom, 3.
Yeah.
But they're similar in a way.
Yeah.
So
you would do it as a breakfast, lunch, and dinner type.
Well, I already do the intermittent fasting, and I like that idea. I don't like eating too much during the day before doing much.
I do that kind of on accident. I just don't eat I just don't eat breakfast or lunch, and then I pretty much just eat dinner. It's not like I set out to say I'm going to have an 8-hour eating window and fast for 16. That's just how it happens.
And I'm after like a couple years of doing it, I'm more so just like gray area with it. But most days of the week, I probably make it 16 hours. Occasionally, I do 24 hours. And then sometimes I'll do like a borderline fast. Like I'll have like some greens drink that might have like 180 calories. And then, I might do that in the morning and then I won't do anything till later. But I would just eat watermelon during the day. If you told me that would fill me up enough. I would eat watermelon all the time, whenever I was thirsty or hungry. And then at the end of the night, pizza and fucking ice cream, dude. And peanut butter in my ice cream. You better believe there's peanut butter and cookies and gimme it all.
Pizza I could do. I'm when it comes to eating, I'm all about texture. Yeah. And the texture of melted cheese is just I know it's like real cliche to be like, oh, cheese, bacon, and tacos type deal. Like those saying that kind of shit. Like, oh,
I don't even like cheese, and I like cheese. You get what I mean? Like, I'm not a cheese guy. Pizza, you put it melted on a sub, any cheesesteak sub,
any melted cheese. I don't.
Yeah,
I
dude.
fucking hate
mozzarella sticks.
Hell yeah, I hate just having like a cold turkey sandwich with a slice of cheese on it. I don't. Cheese has got to be fucking melted.
That's tough for me. I've gotten better about it, but I don't like it enough to even really want to do it. I definitely, it's funny because like even grilled cheese to me tastes good. I like a grilled cheese sandwich. That's so good.
Just grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Why is that with cheese?
I don't know. It's gotta.
You don't hear that talked about too much. Like that's a very big thing. I bet you a lot of people only like cheese.
Melted.
I'm
one of them.
And it's weird. It's almost like cooked. Could you eat cold pizza?
No.
Oh, that's tough for me.
I can't eat cold pizza. If there's leftover pizza, I have to heat it up.
Yeah, you know what? You're right about that. I definitely like it more melted.
People say like, there's no such thing as bad pizza. No, cold pizza's bad pizza.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just funny because when I think about my favorite foods, and the things that taste the best to me, man, they're almost all the worst.
Yeah.
Almost all the worst for you. What a weird world that is. Literally the best tasting things
are the worst for you.
And that's just kind of what industrialization has done, right?
Yeah.
Or just that's kind of the art of making Pop-Tarts. But why does it have to be unhealthy, and why can't there be somebody out there who's like, man, we can make Pop-Tarts, but they're good for you, dude.
And even
it's 2019.
Even some of that alternative stuff that they make, like healthy alternatives, it's just not the fucking same.
Usually it tastes bad or it's not that healthy.
Yeah.
It's rare that it does. Like, I eat them Lenny and Larry's cookies. At the end of the day, they got 400 calories and they got a ton of sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some fiber. Yeah, they got some protein.
So
but
you're losing one and adding another type deal.
There's honestly a chance that slice of 7-Eleven pizza is similar enough.
Yeah.
Probably not that far off.
Oh, dude. A fresh slice of 7-Eleven pizza.
Yeah.
You get that shit right out of the oven.
It's good, dude. Their pizza's good.
That is some of the better pizza there is.
And it's unique. Yeah. It has its own taste that's very, very distinct. I like it. I mean, I really love hand-tossed Italian-style pizza that's together. Like, I don't want it falling apart and sloppy.
Yeah.
But if you go to, like, a Italian pizza place.
I let the pizza cool down a little bit just to let that cheese solidify a little bit, just so it holds together and doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, the grease goes away a little or some shit, or I don't know what happens. But yeah, the cheese definitely starts to form. That's important in a pizza. I hate when it falls apart. And I will damp off some of the cheese.
I don't.
With if it's too greasy.
I let it go. And then
Do you like a lot of meats?
Like on pizza or just meat in general?
I mean on pizza.
Not actually, you know what? Not really.
Who the hell can eat a Works pizza? You got like black olives and all sorts of onions. Supreme. What did I say?
Works.
Yeah, some people call that the Works. Yeah,
same thing.
Supreme pizza though. Usually, I know it sounds funny, but we used to call it the Works at the pizza shop I worked at. But a lot of times they call it Works, but when you see it on a box, like in a frozen pizza, it's Supreme.
Black olives ruin everything. Especially pizza.
What is up with people who just order a sub? They don't even ask what it comes on. I'll just take everything. What do you want? Everything. You see that a lot. People are
do. For cheesesteaks, I
wish that was my taste buds.
For cheesesteak, I'll say everything, no mushrooms.
Okay, so you like all that other kind of stuff on there too.
Well, because when you say everything for a cheesesteak, it's lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, hots.
Onions?
Oh, yeah, and
onions. Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they're not putting green peppers on there.
Okay.
But if they do,
now think about a pizza. The taste of a pizza that's cheese, sauce, and crust. And then think about what it tastes like to bite into it. And you've got black olives and onions.
No, it ruins
even ham. There's like ham on some Works pizza and the sausage and the pepperoni. And
I don't like...
What in the hell?
When it comes to pizza, I'll eat just about any. But if I had my choice, it would go cheese first, top of the list. Every time. Straight cheese pizza from like a pizzeria or something like that. And then maybe like pepperoni's number 2.
Yeah, I like I like those.
And fucking Hawaiian.
Yeah. Sometimes they get bacon and pepperoni. See, I don't know about Hawaiian for me a ton, but ham is actually the one that I think tastes weird to me on pizza. I just don't like that style for me.
Yeah. I love it.
And I will, this will be the last thing I'll say on the topic of food, and then we can, whatever you want to say, and we'll wrap it up. Something that's odd to me with that stuff is when I look at a Works pizza, I think, and a few things I think this on. How does a person eat that? And then when I order a burger, I'll get it with just, ketchup and cheese, maybe bacon. And I'm like, this is a big burger. I have to like kind of squeeze
manage it. Yeah.
How the fuck do people eat this burger with tomato, lettuce, a pickle, mayonnaise that's slopping all off the place, or like a sub? And it's like, when I just get meat, cheese, and ketchup and it's messy, how do people manage when it's all that? Or pizza that's
Dude,
supreme?
I get my burgers with an over easy egg on them.
That's tough.
It's awesome.
Does it get all over you?
Yeah.
God.
I mean, you can kind of work around it so it doesn't, like, you're not all slopped up.
Yeah.
But for the most part.
When you pick up when you pick up your cheesesteak subs and you order them that way, do you expect it to just kind of be dripping and getting everywhere?
It's all on how you handle it. So if I get a cheesesteak sub with everything, when I open it, if I get like carryout or something, when I open it up, I'll take a fork or a knife or something, and I'll push it all down into the roll and then close it up.
It's not just about how you handle it, because sometimes you're looking at a sub roll where it's like, God, they cut it too far in, and now that thing's getting soggy, and that strip starts to fall apart, and then it's dripping from the bottom strip.
Dude, the last bite of a cheesesteak sub is the best bite. All the juices get sopped up into the bread.
Do you try to like eat a piece that has a little bit of everything last, or does it you just get that corner of bread?
No, I try and get no. I try and get meat.
Yeah, me too.
On the last bite.
Like I hate when the last bite of my pizza is that little burnt piece of crust in the corner.
I'll eat the crust first sometimes.
Yeah, if I can manage the pizza, see that's one. It depends on the pizza.
Yeah,
you do that to the wrong pizza
because
you're holding an obstacle. It's like harder to hold up than one of them balloons that are filled with water that slide out of your hands. You pick up that pizza and shit. You think you're gonna grab? I do the instinct. I've had cheese falling off, and I've put my other hand out to catch it, and then I just caught a bunch of cheese and sauce all over myself. Oh God, food is tough for me, man, because I think I don't know why I'm a messy eater. I try to be very particular and like think about it, but how in the hell do people manage a Works pizza? 16-inch, real long one, thin
you fold it.
God.
Or you fork and knife.
I think that people are listening and they're like, these fucking men, don't they realize a lot of people eat pizza with forks and knives?
Well, you're a fucking idiot if you eat your pizza with a fork and knife.
I'm not eating my pizza with a fork and a knife.
Mike's taking some strong stances. That's mine. You're a fucking idiot.
At least when Steve talked about managing how you handle it, he's talking about like rolling the shit up and like packing it in with a fork and stuff. Like he's still picking that up with his hand.
Well, because food is like one of my all-time passions.
Yeah.
And I love cooking. I love I love the physical act of eating. I love flavor. I don't know. It makes me feel something.
You know what? I got a thing of oatmeal cream pies yesterday. How good are oatmeal cream pies?
The little Debbie ones?
What an unexpected thing to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like oatmeal cookies. First of all, have you ever even heard of an oatmeal cookie that doesn't have raisins? Was this like a gingerbread oatmeal cookie? What is that thing? I've never even heard of that cookie. Just sell me those cookies. Give me those cookies in dipping sauce. Give me dipping cream.
It was the Little Debbie's?
The Little Debbie. Who else makes oatmeal cream pies?
I don't know.
I don't think it exists. They're the only people, and it's just for that product. And they got them in little sizes, they got them in big sizes, and they got double deckers.
Wait, they have big ones? I thought they just had the one size.
Well, that's normal. That's the big size. When you buy them in a box, sometimes they have like 12 mini ones or 6 big ones. Yeah,
I've never seen that.
You've never seen the ones that are like
yeah, like the normal like 3
when you
inches.
buy them in a store and they're 99 cents or whatever they are. That's a big one.
The individual.
Yeah, the individual. When you buy them in a store, when you see them at Highs or wherever you see them, that's going to be the bigger one. When you, chances are, I've never seen them in store tiny. When you buy them in a box, you might get the small ones.
Yeah, and you have to dust half a box just to be satisfied.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're great.
They are fucking good.
What is that cookie?
I don't know. Oatmeal.
Gingerbread a little or something.
It's
right?
oatmeal.
It's oatmeal. It doesn't even have oats in it.
Candy cakes too.
They took all of the shit you don't like out of an oatmeal raisin cookie. They're like, you know what? Them shits can be too crunchy. Get rid of that. Because like I can eat an oatmeal raisin cookie that's soft.
This bitch is going to be moist, and we're going to put cream in the middle of it. You know what? Oats, they're fucking gone.
Oats. Yeah, we're still going to call it oatmeal.
Steel cut oats, fuck that, out. Raisins
out. Immediately out. What is up with Tasty Cake? The Tasty Cake pies? Do you ever look at them? They got the apple pie, the little basic apple pie with no icing, and then there's French apple pie.
With the icing.
But guess what else it has?
Raisins.
It's like,
yeah.
Damn it, I want the icing.
On the good pie. You ruin the French apple pie with the fucking bomb-ass icing by putting raisins in the fucking mixture.
You're a Tasty Cake. Put icing on all of them, dummy. Who's buying these things? Oh, the icing's too much. It's a fucking Tasty Cake.
It does. Someone that's counting calories isn't going to be like, I wanted that tasty cake apple pie, but it's got icing on it. Sorry.
No. Who doesn't want the icing on the pie that's buying? I've seen the people who buy tasty cake pies.
Dude, the frosted cherry pies.
Yeah.
That come in like the weird wax paper wrapping.
I know what you're talking about.
I will fuck them up all day.
They're good. The pockets. They're like
They're
like the taco. The turnover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good. I will tell you this, and I just got this. The Hostess, I think, has a blueberry one. Sometimes you buy a packaged glazed product, and I've had other people verify it that it does it to them too. And you eat it, and it leaves a film on the top of your mouth, almost as if you had taken shortening and smeared it all up in the top of your mouth. And it sits there for like 15 minutes, and all I can think of is like, nobody cares about this. Like the people who make this product are satisfied. They're like, hey, we have to do it. That's how we make glazed and preservatives or whatever.
They just weigh the pros and cons. Like,
I will bring it in one time for you. You're going to be shocked.
I know what you're talking about.
Am I right? That's bizarre.
Yeah, it just doesn't bother me to that fact.
Dude, it coats the whole inside of your mouth in a very weird way. Never eaten anything else that does that.
I know. Fuck, it hurts to laugh, but I know what you're talking about. But it's never been like oh man, I just ate this pie, but this fucking film.
Dude, it lingers, man. You could be drinking a whole 20-ounce carbonated beverage. That shit ain't, it's just passing through. It's like fat. The saliva takes a long time water doesn't do shit to it. What are you going to use? You got to like brush it. You're like taking your finger and you're looking at it. And it's like, why is it so much fat? Or it is like a shortening product. It's like a fatty film.
It's probably not coming from the glaze. It's probably coming from the pastry. Like you were saying, if you think it's fat, that's probably where it's coming from.
Typically in the glazed ones though. The donut.
We'll have to test it then.
I'm going to bring them in. I know exactly. It's a blueberry cake donut. Hostess does it, and I think some glazed honey buns do it. Some of the honey buns do it to me.
Yeah.
And it's always the glaze. And it's like, man, you can't come up with some other shit to put on this? We'll just like run it through the zebra cake machine thing, just white icing all over it.
Oh, I haven't had zebra cakes in a while.
Yeah, I know. Fuck it.
We could talk about.
We'll talk about food next time. What time is it?
I don't know what time it is, but I do know we've been recording for 90 minutes. It's 5:24.
All right, I'm gonna bolt.
That was fun. Mike's got a lot of shit to do.
Cool.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good, fun. Well, I'll even have to think back to even when I list it.
Provocative.
To what we even talked about, but it was good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, dude.
Talk to you next time.
Later.